Hey everybody, thank you for joining us at our webinar today. We're going to be talking about what's new in PDQ Inventory 4. Throughout the webinar, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the chat window. And I'll turn it over to Shane and Lex.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane.
I'm Lex from Admin Arsenal. Inventory 4. Let's talk about the new features.
No, let's not.
All right. Well, it was a good podcast.
Well, hope you enjoyed it. Okay, yeah, we've got okay, first of all, what's the best way to look for the new features?
RTFM.
What's the second best way?
Go to Help, and then go to Contents, and then go to Update Notes.
Perfect. So here we are right here. A few things that we've added. You've always been able, like from PDQ Deploy, to deploy software to computers in organizational units or OUs, as well as Windows AD security groups. But now we're also able to collect inventory based on group membership of computers, not of users.
Yeah, computers.
So I'm going to go ahead and close the window there. We store this information, pardon me. Let's take a look at maybe Hannibal. And go in the into the computer window. You see the, obviously, you're used to the computer panel. Active Directory groups, right there. You can see that Hannibal is a member of the group Consultants.
And the nice thing about this is when you highlight Consultants, you'll see below it also lists all the other computers that are members of that group.
Correct. And just a heads up that we're looking at this from all members of that group, whether they are direct members or inherited. In other words, if this group has another subgroup that's a member, all of those computers in that subgroup or that member group are also in here. So you're looking at all members, direct and inherited, and free at no extra charge. When you look at this, you can just go ahead and open up a computer. Like we're looking at Hannibal now, but if I want to go to the computer child's.
What's this free at no extra charge? I thought this had to be like a enterprise or a pro feature.
This is a pro.
So it's free if you got pro?
Thanks for stepping all over my point, man.
Yeah, well, I do my best.
There you go. So you can open up a computer, and now we see that the computer child is in Consultants and Research. Of course, you can also do your collections. You can build collections and reports based off of your Active Directory group membership. And once again, that is for computers that are members of the groups, not for users.
Speaking of collections, Shane, I always get a lot of support questions about, I built this collection, I need a report on it, why do I have to rebuild the filters on that? So
the duplication.
Yeah, the duplication of filters.
So perfect, because that's a great segue into our another feature that we have. You can take collections that you built and you can create reports off of those collections. And it saves the duplication where you don't have to recreate all the filters. So let's take a look at, we got a tight VNC collection right here. It's just got one filter. All computers that have
application that the name contains tight VNC.
If you wanted to create a report off of this, you could just right click on that, say new report. And instead of a basic or SQL, there's a new option.
From collection.
Perfect. Call your...
Now, while Shane's naming that, just remember, it just copies over the filters, so any of the additional columns in that, you don't want to add those at that point.
It's gonna automatically add the computer name column, but then you're going to be able to, the benefit of a report, unlike a collection, is that you can, display data more than just what's in the collection window. So you create the columns that you want to view here, but the filters already collected. In fact, if we save that, perfect. So now you have the report. Go down into some deeper, maybe a fairly complex collection, and that's where it really comes into play. I'm going to go to the collection library. This is available for enterprise mode customers. And let's take a peek at Java. We'll do Java 7, 32-bit. Let's look at...
the filters on that?
Yeah, why not?
Just see how complex that might be.
Actually, this one's not going to be that complex. What will be complex is the 732-bit that is not installed, maybe not installed for workstations.
There you go.
All right. So if we open this up and look at those collections, these filters, you'll see we've got two subgroup filters with a couple of additional value filters. Let's just export that to a report. Look at those filters.
Now you'll notice under the application name, we're using a variable there, and that's a system variable. You can tell system variables because it's got a dollar sign in front of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go into variables real quick?
Let's talk about
All right.
variables.
So that's not a new addition, but we are finding that quite a few customers are still learning about variables. So the variables make it easy for you to.
Single point to update multiple collections or multiple reports.
Yeah, for example, if you look at Java 7, we've got Java 7 32-bit latest. This is a collection that contains all of the computers that have Java 7, the latest version of Java 7, which is, there we go, version 72 or 71. Notice we're looking at these variables. What does that mean? That means we can go into our preferences. That's where variables are stored. System level variables, as Lex mentioned, you can't edit those.
We maintain those here at Admin Arsenal.
So we do. But the concept is still the same because you can create your own variables here, the custom variables. But I'm going to go back to system and go down to that variable for the latest version of Java 7 32-bit. It's the RT-ver. There it is right there. So 70710.
Yep.
And that means we just have to change that there. And all reports, all collections that need that updated version, as long as they're calling the variable, you don't have to go and change all those collections, all those reports every time a new version comes out.
Just do it once.
And of course, you can create your own, like app-ver Firefox. That's a version Firefox. We can update that to the latest version. And this is, once again, a custom variable. And the custom variables are, you can set custom variables using the @ symbol. I'll show you that real quick. Let's do that. Have a custom report for Firefox. We're going to change this to say, instead of typing in that version, we'll just use, was it app for Firefox?
I think it was, yeah.
I hope so.
We'll find out real quick.
That's the convention. At means it's a custom variable that you've defined, and then in open and close paren, in the middle of that is the name of your variable. You can always also look at this. Let's just see, little cheat sheet here. App for Firefox. Save it. Run it. And let's see. There it is. Description is 3405. You can see how that expands that value from the preferences. So thanks for calling that out. That's values, or those variables. Use them, please. Well, you don't have to use them if you really like to duplicate your work all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can create, as you have discussed, collections to reports. We've also made it so that you can go
from a report back to a collection.
Correct. So let's look at Firefox since we've got this. We'll open this up. If we want to, let's see, export this to a report or to a collection, there's a button right there. It's called Create a New Dynamic Collection. Using this report, do that. It'll create the collection. You can call it whatever you want. And when you create a collection from a report, it will always place the collection in the top level, the root of your collection window.
Yeah.
So we'll save that. And if we come over here, there it is right there, Firefox. And then you can move that. You can move that anywhere you want. Just a gotcha. Any report that doesn't have a filter, I'm going to go to the design mode here. If you don't have any filters here, you're not going to be able to export this to a collection.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just have the computer collection itself.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that. So you have to have a filter, just so you know.
Just one. At least one.
It'll be grayed out otherwise. Let's go back to the manual. By the way, if you have any questions, collect them, send them in, and we will definitely answer those. There's a chat window that you can post your questions to, I believe. All right. So we covered the creating collection report as well as the AD groups. Let's look at the other version.
Other version, yeah.
This one can be a little confusing. Those of you who've used file scanners in inventory know all about being able to collect the version information from files. It's one of the benefits here.
Some of the wonderful vendors have multiple ways of saving that data.
Correct. let's see. Let's choose a computer here.
Let's go to Jerry. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so Jerry, we're going to come down to the files panel.
Once again, guys, Jerry's the name of the computer, not an end user.
That's right. Thank you for calling that out. All right, so we'll cover in a second how we collect some of these files, but these are files that have been scanned on the computer, Jerry. All right, and you can see the file name, et cetera, et cetera. People are used to seeing the file version. It's important. Sometimes you have to build a report or a collection saying, I need to know all the computers that have this file but lower than this version. But vendors sometimes store information in what's known as an other version field. We're now grabbing that field. So you can find some discrepancies here, but you can also, there might be times where you need something in the other version that's not in product or file version. We are now grabbing that. So you can see there's a slight difference between the other version and the file version, mostly in this case, some additional information in parentheses. But if you happen to need that, we now grab that using the file scanner. But this does beg the question, Lex, of what exactly, how do you grab files? Are we showing all the files on a computer?
You have to build a file scanner.
That's right.
And to do that, you're going to go to Preferences.
Okay.
And then down to Scan Profiles.
Scan Profiles.
And then from there, you're going to add or edit a scanner.
So we've got one here called Windows EXE. So I'm going to open this up. And here we're looking at, you can see there's a file scanner. You can always add your scanners in a scan profile by clicking the Add. And you'll see all the different scanners that are available, including files. So we've added one file scanner to this profile. And here we're saying in the System32 directory under Windows, grab, and all subdirectories.
Any subdirectories, yeah.
Here's the file pattern. Grab all
EXEs.
any file that ends with an exe. You could also add something like, star.dll, or you could actually give it a specific name.
Go after a specific file.
My app.dll if you want. So you can define all the filters that you want, or all the file patterns that you want there. And when you scan a computer using this scan profile, it will look for those files.
Now, just because you build this, you need to go add it to one of the scan profiles that you're going to be using.
Well, this is. We've got
But
Windows EXE. So if you wanted, if let's say that you wanted to, you've got your standard scan profile. This is one that, this and application scan profiles, these are the two that people usually scan with.
Use the most, yeah.
If you wanted to add, you can add a file scanner to the standard if you want. It doesn't come with it by default. Standard has everything except for files and registry. But if you wanted to add a file, then you could just say.
do that here. Now, just take in mind, if you are going to be scanning files, it's going to scan the directory you set, and if you collect subdirectories of that, this could take time. So just remember, it could take some time.
So just keep that in mind. But that's how you. But I mean, by default, if you go look at a computer in the files panel of a computer window and you don't see any files, that's because you haven't scanned files on that system. So anyway, let's go back here. We're about wrapping up with the new features.
80 parent
Yeah.
path.
So we've always collected what's known as the path, the actual path in Active Directory for a computer object. But to be literal, I mean the path, any 80 path for a computer always ends in the name of that computer.
Yeah.
So it can be a little confusing, as some people have asked for, can I just have the path without the computer name in there? So now we're grabbing both. We are throwing, I'm going to open up Jerry again.
And if you look under Computer and scroll down to Active Directory, you'll see the parent path.
You can look up right there and see that. There's the path. So Jerry is in the Deadwood Computers workstations. We still do grab the path as well in ending in the name.
Yeah, it would include in Jerry, but here's the thing. If you wanted to do a collection or you wanted to do a report that used that,
we'll do it.
It'd be kind of difficult if you had to, name every machine. So that's why we use the parent.
We'll do 80 paths and parent paths. just so you can see the options that you have here. So we're going to show, we have our columns, our columns tab that we're looking at. We're going to go ahead and add a new column. It's also from the computer table. Scroll on up to the AD, and let's look at the AD parent path.
And then we'll add the...
Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and do that so we can actually see AD path. Perfect. We'll save that and run it. And make these a little wider here. Sorry, guys.
First time using the mouse, huh, Shane?
Oh, yeah. So you can see how this is working. The actual AD path in the reports and collections, it will end in the name of the computer.
Yeah.
But the parent path is there. So. And in the computer window, we're showing the parent path in the AD section, just so you know. So use your filters appropriately. Before, you used to have to say, if you wanted to look at the path, you couldn't do an equals.
It'd be starts with or contains, yeah.
Yeah, so just some additional features. And then, of course, we've also added the ability to, we've changed a lot of the look and the feel.
The flat icons, yeah.
Yeah, the flat icons, trying to make it a
We
little...
want to get out of the 80s, no more Pokemon, gem in the holograms, or, whatever it is, Jamberry nails, or whatever it is. But, yeah, so we updated the look.
Scotch, here we come.
Oh, yeah.
Scotch. So let's do this. Some people don't know this. We're looking at our collection window. Now let's say that I want to have my servers always highlighted. If you always want to have your servers highlighted so it stands out, so you don't have to always search for it, you can go to Item Appearance. You right-click on that and go to Item Appearance. This has been here since version 1, but I'm calling it out. And you can change the icon for servers if you want. You have all these different icons that are available to you. Let's choose that one, database. But you can display
Who came up
as
with
a
these
section
pictures,
header.
man?
You can display as a section header, and by doing that, that will always highlight that particular collection.
Nice.
Just so you know. And of course, you can change your icons to what we have listed here. It just makes it a little easier for you to navigate.
True.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the new features. We are getting ready to put a beta out for the next version of Inventory.
Yeah.
It's going to be Inventory version 5 with some additional new features coming soon to a theater near you. We're going to have the ability to automatically send email or save reports on a schedule. That's been something that's been requested for a while. So yeah, here you got your reports that you can run.
Once you're done, you can turn them into a PDF or something and then email them.
I'm gonna, if we want to do the Firefox here, yeah, there's this report. I can always go to the print preview. A lot of people don't know this one, print preview.
Print preview. Sysadmin
Alliterations.
doesn't know print preview.
Well,
Wow.
what they don't know is in the print preview, that's where you can right now do, send this as a particular file type via email. So just click this and say PDF file, and it will email that to whoever you want, or you can just save it. Obviously, if you're going to do the email, you do have to have a mail client installed.
Running and installed, yeah.
So keep that in mind, especially if you're running PDQ Inventory on a server. But yeah, version 5, we're slated for PDQ Inventory, soon to be in beta. We are planning on letting you automatically send this information.
Nice.
Yeah, rock on.
So is it time for questions?
I think so.
So a couple of questions coming our way. What do you think, Shane?
I think I need some whiskey real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say. There you go. While you're at it, hook me up. I got a question from Sean. What's the average size in KB of a normal computer's inventory?
Oh, that's a massive. There is a standard size. I guess we could try to give an average, but that would still be widely variable.
Yeah, it depends on the number of computers. It depends on the types of file scans, the things you're doing.
Absolutely.
If you do file scans, it's going to grow pretty big.
If you don't do file scans and you don't do registry, and you're looking at just regular standard scans, maybe 1,000 computers. Generally, with a standard scan, you can expect maybe 1 to 2 megabytes worth of data.
Yeah.
Of course, that depends on the number of services, the number of applications installed on each computer. 1 to 2 megabytes per computer. But once you start introducing file scans and registry scans, where we have people that are scanning, literally thousands of files and registry values and keys, that can obviously grow substantially. So we've seen inventory data. Let's look at the size of this one. This one's going to be fairly small. Here's how you check the size of your database. You go to Preferences.
Database, surprisingly, huh?
So let's see, go to Database. There's the Database panel. And you can see the size, 11 megabytes. So
the answer to that depends.
yeah, it really does. Now, just so you know, if you want to shrink this, a few things that you can do. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, auto cleanup. If you have your auto cleanup set to a fairly low number, that will help. The auto cleanup, all this does is, this is how long we're going to keep a history of what scans were sent to computers. Not the scan data. There's nothing to do with the scan data. This just says, hey, I know I scanned using the standard scan profile to this computer on this date. Generally, you can keep this fairly low. Don't keep it too low. If you keep it at 0, it'll keep that information forever. And that will increase your size depending on the number of scans that you have. So, 14 days is fairly standard. Some people go 7.
Work, yeah.
Some people go 7, yada, yada.
I think we answered that. So, depends. What else we got? Any other questions?
Oh, that's a good question. So Troy asks, do you think we'll ever introduce historical data? We've discussed this. If we do this, it might. This is just now.
There's a big if at this
now
point.
we're just sitting around. Pretend you're asking this at a bar. So we're not. We're having a beer and you're not. We're not on the line for anything.
Skull.
Cheers. If we do that, it might be a little too much for SQLite.
Yeah, I was going to say that would probably
So
grow.
we'd probably have something like that exported or included in some other relational database. SQLite may be able to do it, but we have not ruled it out, Troy. Keep it, scanning for historical data, or more appropriately, keeping historical data.
So,
do we have any other questions out there? No?
I don't think we have any other questions. So, the other question I get often on support is, where do I get more training?
Oh.
So, to get more training, you can go to our website.
Talking about gun training or
That's the kind I like.
wine tasting. If you want PDQ training, go to our website. We offer 2 types of training. There's an online, it's online. It's phone/online, where you can get very, very personalized training.
Share your screens. We help you work through
Yeah,
it.
we'll basically remote into your environment. We'll schedule a time with you, and you can do it in half-hour or 1-hour increments. I believe, I have to verify with Annalisa, that this is billed in 2-hour increments. But basically, the training sessions can break down into as small as a half hour if you want. And we just look at your environment and give you the specialized training that you want. Then there's also the on-site training here in Salt Lake City.
It's like full contact. We teach you everything.
It's a 2-day training course, yeah.
We talk about inventory. We talk about deploy, all the nuances, all the little gotchas.
Yeah.
And you get to spend time with Shane, ask him how cool his beard is.
You spend time in the octagon because we go full contact into the PDQ world.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What else do you see with support?
Boy. That's I brought up most of what happens in support. So.
All right. Well, rock on. Hey guys, thanks for joining.
If you
have suggestions for other webinar, netcasts,
podcasts, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, by all means, send an email to support@adminarsenal.com and make your suggestion. And go to our online forums, support.adminarsenal.com. Check it out, post your questions, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I'm Shane.
And I'm Lex. Thanks for watching.
Rock on.
Everybody, thank you for joining us at the webinar today. As I said, if you have any additional questions, always there for you at support boards, adminarsenal.com/support. And we hope to see you at the next webinar.